Good morning, I'm Gretchen Ho. We're coming to you live this Wednesday, 24th day of September, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. DPWH engineer Henry Alcantara has named the lawmakers involved in the alleged kickbacks from flood control projects. Meanwhile, Bryce Hernandez's lawyer stated that more senators will be added to the list of those implicated in the issue. The Independent Commission on Infrastructure, or ICI, and the Integrated Bar of the Philippines are teaming up to enforce transparency and accountability in government infrastructure work. And an ethics complaint has been filed by Congressman Toby Chanco against his colleague, Congressman Zaldy Co. Chanco's complaint accuses Co of several violations, including improper last-minute budget insertions, unwarranted absences from Congress, and maintaining a lifestyle inconsistent with his declared income. Now let's go to our first agenda for the day. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure has partnered with key institutions to strengthen its probe into anomalous flood control projects nationwide. ICI Chairperson former Justice Andres Reyes Jr. led the signing of a memorandum of agreement with the Philippine National Police, Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, and the Mayors for Good Governance. IBP said the partnership underscores the institution's shared commitment to accountability, transparency, and quality public service. Now, Reyes welcomed the collaboration, saying it will reinforce the ICI's mandate to uncover the truth behind corruption allegations in flood control projects. And now, to talk more about this partnership, we have on the show IBP National President Attorney Alan Panolong. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Hi, good morning, Ms. Gretchen Ho, and thank you for having us here in your show.
So, Attorney, tell us more about this partnership between IBP and the ICI. What kind of working relationship will you establish? Is it primarily for this flood control probe, or will this be a working relationship moving forward towards other infrastructure investigations?
Basically, the memorandum of agreement between the Independent Commission of Infrastructure and the Integrated Bar of the Philippines is to come up with a collaborative and cooperation efforts designed to work on investigating the anomalous activities involving government-funded infrastructure projects. So we are limiting to the government infrastructure projects like what we are facing right now, the controversy on the ghost flood control projects.
And ang ibig sabihin po ng partnership na ito, you'll be giving your services pro bono? Ganun po ba yun?
Opo. Ang ating pong mga abogado, no, sa katunayan nga, Ms. Gretchen, since we launched that request or appeal to our members to volunteer their pro bono legal aid services, we have already received around 1,000 volunteer lawyers across the nation.
Oh, that's great to hear. I am aware, because my brother is a lawyer, that meron ng bagong requirement ngayon sa batas, no, na dapat merong pro bono work. Am I correct?
Yes, ito pa yung Unified Legal Aid Service kung saan the covered lawyer will have to render a mandatory 60 hours of pro bono legal aid service within a period of 3 years. So, kinakailangan po yun dahil kung hindi po ma-accomplish ng isang lawyer yan, ay pwede pong magkaroon siya ng penalty under that new policy.
Oh, so 3 years only, and then after nun, okay ka na? This is not a recurring thing every single year.
This is a mandatory 60 hours pro bono legal service to be accomplished within 3 years. Now, after which, meron din po tayong tinatawag na yung pro bono legal aid service that the IBP is actually doing since since its establishment. So, this is separate and distinct and separate from that of the Unified Legal Aid Service. So, yung isa po is mandatory since there is a policy for that, and the other one is that is a recurring activity of the IBP even prior to that of the new requirement under the
Of
law.
course, the interest here is very encouraging. More than 1,000 volunteers willing to dedicate their time. So off the bat, what cases are you already seeing here with the hearings in both houses of Congress? Sa mga naisiwalat, meron na po bang pwedeng ma-file sa ngayon na solid na case?
I understand there are so many cases already being considered for filing. No, one could be a possible case of plunder. No, kasi any government official or person or in conspiracy with a private individual benefited from any government contract involving an amount of or an aggregate amount of or a total amount of 50 million pesos. And apparently, as we listen carefully to the investigations being conducted in the House of Representatives and the Senate, the amount involved is even greater than 50 million pesos. So,
Parang maliit na nga po yung 50 million.
yun na nga po eh. Kasi we are talking about billions of pesos, which really worried us, the IBP, no? That in fact, Ms. Gretchen, before the ICI was formally announced by the President, we already have came out with our own initiative in the IBP where we formed that Good Government Council. The purpose of which is actually to conduct a parallel investigation relative to these cases of anomalous transactions involving government infrastructure projects. So, nag-form po tayo ng council yan, and we're very happy that the ICI reached out to us and they wanted to have a working relationship since we have a singular mission, which is to hold accountable
That's correct.
any persons, yes, any persons responsible for squandering the government funds. So we cannot really forgive them.
Okay, bukod po sa plunder, ano pa po yung mga cases na nakikita nyo? Is this
Marami
the
po.
highest case that can be charged against you, given how egregious the crimes have been and how systemic? Ito lang po yung pinakamabigat na pwedeng maikaso sa kanila.
Opo, because the plunder carries a penalty of reclusion perpetua to death. So this is the appropriate crime where we can charge those persons responsible. But marami pong pwedeng ikaso din naman those below 50 million, like a possible case of RA 3019 or violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, cases of falsification of public documents, because we learned yesterday that from the statement of our esteemed Secretary of Department of Public Works and Highways that there was these cases of tampering or destruction of evidence. So pwede pong mahulog yun sa falsification. So these are the cases that the ICI could possibly consider in filing against the perpetrators. Not to mention that the ICI also can actually recommend for filing, of course, number one, yung administrative. Meron na pong tinanggal yung ating Secretary of DPWH, no? Yun yung una niyang ginawa, yung administrative action. Then pangalawa po is yung civil. They can run after the illegally obtained wealth out of that anomalous transactions.
Which was the subject of debate yesterday, yung restitution. Pero mamaya, pag-uusapan ko, tapusin ko muna itong train of thought na ito. Malamang kasama rin po dyan yung anti-money laundering.
Yes.
Violation of that act.
Mga ancillary remedies, no? Kasi the freezing of the accounts of the persons, suspected persons involved in this scam, yun yung immediate remedy in preparation for filing of cases. So kailangan ma-freeze yung accounts para hindi po siya ma-withdraw.
Okay, I want to go to some of the statements of the witnesses or resource persons over at the Senate. It seemed to me that they were very careful with the way they answered these questions. For one, Bryce Hernandez kept saying, sumunod lang ako sa inuutos sa akin. Wala pong akong ginawa na hindi alam ng boss ko. Pag ganun po, anong level of culpability on the part of Bryce Hernandez, knowing that there is higher authority above him? And what if, kasi ito naman ang sinasabi ni Engineer Alcantara na hindi ko alam yung mga ghost. Sinabi ko, hindi niya daw sinabi na gawing ghost yung mga proyekto. Kumbaga parang diskarte yun daw nung dalawa na si Bryce Hernandez at saka si JP Mendoza. Ano po nakikita niyo doon?
Oh, well, these resource persons, no, itong mga former government officials are very careful in disclosing their actual participation in the transactions because, for one, it will incriminate them. So, please take note that when they took the witness stand, they took their oath, no? Merong oath po yan. So, anything that they would say before the Congress will be, if it's against their own interest, so it might be used against their own interest. So, base po sa aking observation, they wanted to shield themselves from a higher accountability. But the thing is, the scandal cannot be perpetrated by one official or one person alone. It is some sort of a syndicate, a group, para po may conspiracy. So, in government transactions, hindi naman po na-aprobahan yung isang kontrata kung isang tao lang po yung pipirma or mag-a-approve niyan. It will involve so many people.
Pero kung sakasakali ho,
it will be the same.
Pag sinabi po ni Bryce Hernandez na ako'y sumunod lamang sa utos ng boss ko, even though hundreds of millions were siphoned through them, siya ba ay may pwedeng kasuhan ng plunder?
Yes, definitely. It will not exculpate by mere claiming that it was upon the instruction of his superior. No, will
correct.
not exculpate them because because in the first place, as a government officer, in the discharge of his or her function, he has to consider the existing policies within the office. So ang dami pong, alam mo, napakahirap maging isang gobyerno. Miss Gretchen, dati rin po akong government employee. At ang dami pong, in processing a particular transaction, ang dami pong dapat obserbahan. So he cannot simply claim that it was through an instruction by his superior because he also enjoys that
the benefits of that system. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
because he can actually inform his superior that, sir, this is against the law. Pwede naman sabihin yun eh.
And it was noteworthy also yung debate niya with Senator Raffy Tulfo when he said naglalaro lang talaga siya sa casino, and I guess he's very careful around getting a money laundering case, implicating himself in that. But and with that, do you think they're still qualified to be state witnesses? I mean, what level of course, we ideally gusto po natin na maging makatotohanan po sila. Pero we should remember that this is also legislative floor. It is not, they're not testifying in our courts yet, right?
Yes.
So paano po kaya yun, yung balance na ganon? Sila po ba ay qualified to be state witness?
Meron pong sa batas po natin, no, in order for a witness to be qualified as a state witness, meron pong requirements na kinakailangan. Unang-una, the person or the witness seeking to be accepted as a state witness should pass the criteria. Unang-una, least guilty yung witness na yun, and that he or she is testifying for a grave felony, which is plunder. Kung plunder ang ikakaso is a grave felony because it carries a penalty of reclusion perpetua to death. And then third, his testimony is the only available evidence, no? Then it can be corroborated with material points. So para po sa akin, no, nakikita ko na kung siya lang po talaga yung available witness, he may. But the problem is that he is actually one of the big actors in the scandal. So he cannot be considered as at least guilty. No? Kasi
Referring
yung,
to Bryce Hernandez.
yes po.
Okay.
Oo. So, and this is actually, Miss Gretchen, it will depend also on how the Department of Justice, because eventually it is the Department of Justice.
Who will decide?
Yes. So, if they see that in order to prosecute properly the case, then pwede nilang tanggapin. No?
But the witness protection program, to whom is that accorded? To all witnesses, regardless if you're a state witness or not?
Actually, the witness should apply in order for a witness to be considered or to be accepted under the program. So not all witness may be eligible. No? Kailangan mo pong mag-apply yan. So even in an ordinary case, for instance, where the life of a person is being threatened or under threat, then pwede po siya mag-apply sa witness protection program. So it is not only limited to the current cases being investigated by the Congress.
Okay. And with the issue of restitution that was debated on by the DOJ Secretary, pati na rin si Senator Marcoleta, ano po ang inyong palagay doon? Maaari po ba na, tama po ba si Secretary na sinabi niya na they have the freedom to interpret the spirit of the law when it comes to this, even if hindi po naka-state explicitly na dapat ibalik yung mga ninakaw?
Para po sa akin, tama po si Secretary Rimulya on that particular aspect, because unang-una, nag-a-apply ka to be accepted or admitted as a state witness. And pangalawa, there were admissions about the commission of the offense. Diba? Remember, may mga admissions sila na may mga tinanggap silang bribes or kickbacks. So in effect, they benefited from the transaction. So if they want to show really their sincerity in helping the government prosecute the cases, then they have to return whatever ill-gotten wealth that they receive out of the transactions. And another thing is that I agree with the Secretary Rimulya, because the DOJ has this administrative rulemaking power to prescribe the rules in implementing the witness protection program. So it may be, yes, it may be, nasa batas po yan eh. It may be, they may include that as an additional requirement to really ensure that the witness is sincere and helping the government. And besides, it has basis under the law. Marami pong interplaying principles na involved dito. Number one is the principle of unjust enrichment. Kung tumanggap ka ng benepisyo o pera o kayamanan na hindi naman talaga nararapat na tanggapin yun dahil bawal yun, illegal yun, tulad ng itong nangyaring skandalong ito, nararapat lamang po na isauli mo yun. So may basihan naman po yun eh.
As a sign of good faith nga, parang to convince the DOJ to decide in favor of your application. Okay, finally, I would want to ask about the senators involved here. As we know, they are no old-timers to charges of corruption and plunder. For one, Senator Jinggoy Estrada was acquitted of plunder but convicted of bribery in January 2024. But 7 months later, the Sandigan Bayan turns around and grants his appeal. Does this mean that his conviction is effectively extinguished? And he has been jailed twice already. First in 2001 for the plunder case with his father, and in 2014 for the PDAP scam. How should we view these curious coincidences?
Well, if the court has really cleared Senator Jinggoy, then it is really a closure of the cases being lodged against him. No, so, the acquittal would mean failure on the part of the prosecution to establish his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. So meaning to say, it is as if he was not formally charged. So in the other cases, I cannot really give my own opinion on this because the investigation is still ongoing, and
Correct,
uh,
correct.
uh, uh, I think there are more revealing evidence or circumstances that would be
Kasi
uncovered
ho, ano,
in the
attorney, yung mahirap po kasi dito, yung direct transaction, usually hindi po nangyayari yan. Usually may mga middlemen. Like for example, with Senator Bong Revilla, yung chief of staff niya yung na-convict. With the case of Senator Joel Villanueva, hindi siya yung direktang kumakausap at sabi pa na hindi naman niya alam na sa flood control kinuha. Does that exonerate him? And what will be the challenge here for the IBP to establish plunder cases?
Well,
leading to the higher-ups.
Even if the public officer, let's say a hypothetical case without necessarily referring to the cases of the circumstances alluded to the three senators, two senators and one former senator. Well, pwede namang gamitin dito yung circumstantial evidence, when these circumstances, when put it together, it points or it gives to a good picture, which is a criminal culpability of committing the crime. So pwede naman po yun. So yun nga lang is the burden is on the prosecution because alam nyo po, Miss Gretchen, is yung burden of proof talagang kailangan nasa shoulder po yun ng prosecution. So kailangan attention ng matibay na ebidensya. Although the evidence may not directly point to the persons being complained for appropriate criminal charges, but as I said, kung the pieces of evidence, the circumstances will point to him or her, so pwede siyang makonvict pa rin doon. So yun nga lang, divided, even the legal community is divided on this because there are many saying that it's hearsay. So hearsay is not admissible in evidence. So it will again depend on the appreciation of the court.
Dito po sa kaso ni Senator Jinggoy, ang sabi po ng korte that the court said that criminal intent was absent. So obviously there is a lot of work to do here for the IBP to be able to establish to exact real accountability here. Bilang panghuli, saan po kayo papasok dito? When will this working relationship start? And what are the gaps that you are hoping to fill in here for the ICI?
Yes. So since the ICI is the independent body tasked to conduct the investigation and prosecution of these cases, so we come in as a complement, So kung ano po yung kakulangan nila na gusto nilang masama kami because we'll be waiting for their instruction. So that's where we come in. But in our memorandum of agreement, we agreed that we will establish anti-corruption help desk throughout the country. So Ms. Gretchen, we have around 84 chapters across the country. So we will be setting up anti-corruption help desk wherein we will assist to receive complaints coming from our citizens involving any anomalous government infrastructure projects within that area. So pangalawa is that we might be assisting the ICI to draft criminal, civil, and administrative complaints against those persons responsible with those in committing those crimes, alleged crimes. And then finally, we will be also assisting them in some sort of a in the information and all the initiatives that the ICI will develop. So we are actually basing on the MOA the ICI treats us as an indispensable partner, no? Kasi we understand the ICI has just been created few days ago. And wala pa po siyang manpower talaga.
Correct.
So we'll be
That's great.
carrying a huge responsibilities also.
And providing the muscle to the
Yeah.
ICI. And we hope we get to justice fast and expeditiously. Maraming salamat for joining us this morning. And congratulations on the partnership. We look forward to the results and to the work that is about to come. Maraming salamat. We have IBP National President Attorney Alan Panulong.
Maraming salamat po.
Up next, Navota's Representative Toby Chanco has filed an ethics complaint against Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldy Co. Let's talk more about this with Congressman Chanco when we come back after a quick break. Keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here in One News. Congressman Toby Chanco has filed an ethics complaint against Congressman Zaldy Co. Chanco accused Co of last-minute budget insertions, unjustified absences in Congress, and living beyond his means. Co has been linked to contractors flagged in the controversial flood control projects. One News has obtained footage of Co's residence in Pasig City, where former DPWH engineer Henry Alcantara supposedly delivered kickbacks from flood control projects. The house is now covered with tarpaulin. House Speaker Boji D earlier gave Co 10 days to return to the country after revoking his travel clearance. And joining us today to talk more about that, we have on the show Navota's Representative Toby Chanco. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, Congressman.
Yes, good morning, Gretchen.
Congressman, I think your camera is off.
Sorry. Good morning.
Kailangan niyo po magpaturo sa anak po ninyo na laging trending ngayon sa TikTok.
Okay. Good morning, Gretchen.
Good morning. Okay, una-una, ito pong ethics complaint na inyong final against Representative Zaldy Co is for betrayal of public trust and other alleged violations. Why an ethics complaint? Is this the easiest way to exact some accountability at this point?
Okay, first of all, Gretchen, that was supposed to be filed no Monday, no? Kaya lang walang pasok. And then, yesterday, overtaken by events na yan. That's why I filed a supplemental complaint because ang mas mahalaga yesterday is yung testimony noong si District Engineer Alcantara, di ba? Na categorically, sinabi niya, number one, nag-usap sila ni Zaldy Co. Hiningan siya ng 20% for 2022 at pagdating ng 2023, umakyat siya sa 25% for amounts that will be inserted doon sa budget ng Bulacan, di ba po? So, and then after that, sinabi pa niya kung saan niya dinideliver yung pera. So, yung complaint na yan, gumawa ako ng supplemental complaint dahil nga doon sa inilabas ni District Engineer Henry Alcantara, no? At ito yung napakahalaga, di ba? If you will recall, in all my previous interviews, Gretchen, lagi kong sinasabi, napakahalaga malaman kung sino yung nag-insert. At pinakita ko doon yung mga insertions na ginawa ni Congressman Zaldy Co. But at that time, those open secret naman yung 20 to 25% na yan Hindi ko lang siya mabanggit noon kasi wala naman akong ebidensya, di ba? Though alam ko, wala naman akong ebidensya. Imagine if you interviewed me 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, sabi ko, ayan, kapalit niyan, may 20 to 25%. Tatanungin niyo ako, ano bang ebidensya mo? Wala naman akong mapapakita sa inyo, di ba? So, maganda yung testimony kahapon dahil napagdugtong na yung insertion doon sa kickback na natatanggap for an insertion. So yun ang mas mabigat na complaint, no? So nag-file ako ng supplemental complaint yesterday.
Oo. Yun nga po, no? Sabi nyo nga po, no, na mas malinaw na ngayon. Parang nagtugma-tugma po itong mga bring up ninyo,
Yes,
na mga numero.
Actually,
oo.
Nagdugtong-dugtong na bakit napakahalaga. Siguro nung una hindi maintindihan ng mga tao, bakit ba napakahalaga kay Congressman Tiangco yung insertion? Bakit niya pinipilit alamin kung pareho yung congressman at pareho yung distrito, di ba? Remember, in one of the interviews, I kept on explaining, nakakapagduda kung magdadala ka ng proyekto doon sa hindi mo naman distrito. So ngayon, doon sa testimonya ni D.E. Alcantara, maliwanag na yung Torya, di ba?
Na mukhang ginagawang bagsakan yung kahit hindi nila distrito. Kasi bumubukol na, ganun po yung term, ano?
Yeah, that's why sinabi ko may sagasa dyan, may parking, di ba? Sa Senado. At sinabi ko, kadalasan, hindi alam ng district congressman. And it was confirmed, I think, in the interpellation of, if I'm not mistaken, Senator J.V., tinanong niya si D.E., alam ba ng district congressman? Sabi ni Alcantara, hindi alam ng district congressman.
Okay. But this supplemental complaint, what are you hoping to exact out of this? Because there are 4 kinds of punishments that can be imposed for ethical violations. There is a reprimand, meron pong censure, suspension, and expulsion. The last 2, yung suspension and expulsion, require 2/3 vote of the entire chamber. Do you think expulsion would be enough considering the gravity of the cases?
Yeah, even expulsion is not enough, Gretchen. Pero hindi naman siguro maganda na wala kaming gagawin sa House, di ba? So, ganun, para manumbalik yung tiwala ng ating mga kababayan sa House of Representatives, dapat makita nila meron kaming ginagawa pag ang kasamahan namin ay nagkaroon ng pagkakasala, di ba? Na dapat, o at least dapat imbestigahan. Pag wala kaming ginawa, baka isipin na pinoproteksyon na namin. No? That's why this ethics complaint is necessary to show people na no one is above the law talaga.
But you're gunning for expulsion?
Let's see. No, I cannot preempt the committee. I filed a complaint. It is up to them to decide what the merits of the case are and the appropriate penalty for that violation.
Pero posible po kaya siya ma-expel dahil hindi po siya umuuwi because of a supposed medical condition that you said he has not substantiated with a medical certificate?
You know, that enough shows na medyo kulang po sa transparency, di ba? If you claim na medical reasons, then you have to show the medical certificate. Di ba ganun yun eh?
And just for context here, the last time somebody was expelled from Congress was Congressman Arnie Teves, who is facing multiple murder charges. So abangan po namin kung saan po pupunta yung ethics complaint na yan. But moving back to the real case here, sabi po ninyo, no, mas nagiging malinaw na at si Congressman Zaldy Co masterminded, tolerated, and deliberately allowed last-minute insertions and realignments. So nakikita po ninyo, siya lang po ba talaga yung mastermind? Hindi po ba meron din po nag-appoint sa kanya bilang appropriations chair at hindi po ito mangyayari without the approval of the House Speaker? Hindi po ba?
Only Congressman Zaldy Co can answer that question, di ba? Nagpaalam ka ba? Pinaliwanag mo ba mabuti? O dumiskarte ka ng mag-isa, di ba? In the same manner, dapat din niya ipaliwanag bakit siya humingi ng 20 to 25% para doon sa mga in-insert niya. Alam mo yung insertions in the beginning, we wanted an explanation eh. But yung tumbok talaga dyan is yung connection ng insertion doon sa hinihinging 20 to 25%, di ba? Hindi lang talaga masabi nun eh. So naghihinto lagi tayo doon sa insertions, di ba? Pero ngayon, since nabanggit na ni District Engineer Alcantara yung 20 to 25% in exchange for the insertions, dapat doon na tayo mag-concentrate. Hindi lang bakit ka nag-insert, kung hindi, yun na nga, may kapalit pala yung insertion na yun.
Oo, pero itong insertion, saan po nangyari ito? Sa small committee or sa BICAM?
Yung nakikita ko lang kasi is yung BICAM because up to now, wala naman ako small committee report. Wala naman ako minutes ng meeting ng small committee. So how can I answer kung magkano yung na-insert doon sa small committee at magkano yung na-insert sa BICAM? Pero doon sa testimony ni D. Alcantara, ang sinasabi niya, di ba may sinasabi nga siya na prior to BICAM, di ba? yun ang tanda ko eh. Meron siyang sinasabing BICAM kasi iba yung scheme of payment doon sa
Correct.
napasok sa BICAM, iba yung bago napasok sa BICAM, di ba? So, yung bang bago napasok sa BICAM na sinasabi niya is a small committee, wala tayong ebidensya eh, wala tayong pagbabasihan, wala tayong records. Ang hawak ko lang na records is yung sa BICAM.
Okay. But hindi po ba parang si Congressman Zaldy Co naman po yung nasisisi ng lahat very conveniently, especially because he is not here also. He wouldn't have been able to do all of these maneuverings without, the approval of somebody higher above. Hindi po ba ganun yun?
Pero hindi lang yun ang mas ma-importante. Nung una, yan ang importante sa atin. May approval ba sa taas, di ba? Ngayon, ang mas importanteng tanong is, yung may kapalit na pera doon sa insertion na ginagawa mo eh. Kasi ang laki ng pera, hindi maliit eh, di ba? Hindi ko lang natapos yung testimony niya kahapon, pero parang ang laki ng halaga eh, di ba? Kasi kung sabi niya 20-25%, tapos yung isa, yun daw pinakitang litrato ng pera na nasa ibabaw ng mesa, yun daw for delivery to Congressman Zaldy Co, di ba? So dati, ang hinihinga natin ng paliwanag is bakit ka naglagay ng pera doon? Meron bang approval ng mas mataas sa'yo? Pero since ngayon, may dugtong na sa pera, ang tanong is, yun talaga, kaya pala ginagawa yan, is may kapalit na pera because there is no logic. Walang logic eh, di ba Gretchen? Hindi humingi yung district congressman ng extra na pondo doon sa lugar niya. Di ba kaming district congressman, mas alam namin kung ano kailangan ng lugar namin at mas natural kami hihingi ng extra na pondo dahil kami lahat gusto namin mas maraming proyekto sa lugar namin. Isipin mo kung hindi namin hiningi yung proyekto tapos biglang tinambak doon. Nakakaduda talaga eh. Walang logic that will explain it. Ngayon, nagkaroon ng logic nung sinabing may kapalit yan. And then, mas mahalaga yung testimony ni Alcantara nung sinabi niya, pinahanap siya ng ibang lugar. Kasi bumubukol na doon sa Bulacan, di ba? Sinabi niya doon na masyado ng malaking amount sa Bulacan, so mahahalata na. So naghanap na naman sila ng ibang lugar na paglalagyan. So isipin mo, hindi based on need ang paglagay ng pondo kung hindi may kapalit, di ba? Kahapon nasa Congress ako, ang daming sumasama ng loob na congressman. Kasi sinasabi nila, pag humingi tayo ng extra na pondo, hirap na hirap tayong madagdagan. Hindi tayo nadadagdagan. Kaya pala hindi tayo nadadagdagan kasi binibenta yung proyekto. Di ba? How would you feel if you were a congressman? Kulang na kulang yung proyekto sa lugar mo. Tapos, humihingi ka ng extra para sa lugar. Tapos hindi mapagbigyan. Tapos matutuklasan mo to doon sa hindi kailangan, doon na pupunta, paano mararamdaman mo?
Pero Congressman, because we are exposing a systemic problem here, hindi po ba dapat, kumbaga lahat din po ng nakinabang dito sa mga nangyaring insertions, dapat maisiwalat din. For one, dito po sa BICAM, hindi lang po si Appropriations Chair Zaldy Co ang nandyan, pati na rin si Senator Grace Po, si Senate President Cheese Escudero, pati nga si House Speaker. Hindi po ba dapat sila din po ay magsalita tungkol dito? Kasi essentially, yan po ay naaprubahan ng lahat ng miyembro ng BICAM.
Lahat ng pumirma sa BICAM report, di ba? If you will recall, last year, meron ng mga nagsasabi na hindi sila pumirma sa BICAM report. I remember clearly na Senator Amy Marcos said she didn't sign the BICAM report. So, meron mga hindi pumirma. Doon sa mga pumirma, yes, of course, they should explain. And I think ang pinakamahalaga doon is yung records nung BICAM, di ba? As I mentioned to you, yung sa House, kaya naman ako napasok dito sa usapan nito, is because nung hiningi yung records nung pinasok sa BICAM, the Senate, through Senate President at that time, Cheese Escudero, submitted the list within 3 days in January. Kaya ako nasama doon sa meeting na yun kasi noong March 24, 2 months after, wala pa rin yung listahan ng House, di ba?
In the meantime, maraming salamat to Navota's Representative Toby Chanco for coming out here and answering those questions. Coming right up, in the wake of the flood control scandal, the lawyer of ex-DPWH engineer Bryce Hernandez has implicated no fewer than 6 senators and an increasing count of congressmen. All that and more when Morning Matters returns. After a short break, keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. The lawyer of former DPWH engineer Bryce Hernandez reveals that at least 6 senators are implicated in the flood control anomaly, along with a growing list of congressmen. More in this report.
This photo showing bundles of cash spread out on a table allegedly represents money pocketed by Congressman Zaldy Co. In a Senate hearing, former DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara revealed that Co was behind billions of pesos funneled into flood control projects. According to Alcantara, from 2022 to 2025, Co allocated 426 projects worth more than 35 billion peso in Bulacan's 1st District. The alleged kickback between 20 to 25%, amounting to 8.75 billion pesos, personally delivered by Alcantara to Co's Hotel or residents in Pasig.
Ang pera na nakalaan para kay Kong Zaldy dinadala sa akin. Ako naman po ang nagdadala o naghahatid na hinihingi porsyento ng Kong Zaldy sa iba't ibang tao.
Former DPWH Assistant District Engineer Bryce Hernandez also admitted he once delivered kickbacks for Co to a hotel penthouse in Taguig. He claimed that cash was packed inside more than 20 suitcases transported using several vans.
6 o 7 van po yung gamit namin nun.
Ilang maleta ba yung ilang bilyon na yon?
Ang laman po ng isang maleta nasa 50 million po. Mahigit po sa 20 maleta, Your Honor.
At 50 million.
Opo, Your Honor.
So mga 1 billion po yon.
The money, according to witnesses, came from advance payments made by contractors for projects that later turned out to be ghost projects or substandard. Even DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo was implicated. Alcantara testified that he collected 70 million pesos, which he personally delivered to Bernardo.
Sa akin pong boss, na nabanggit po nung nakarang hearing ng aming kasama, Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo po.
Between 2023 and 2025, Bernardo allegedly allocated over 6 billion pesos worth of projects in Bulacan's 1st District. His biggest kickback was 1.5 billion pesos. Alcantara further alleged that not only Co and Bernardo but also several senators benefited from the anomaly, naming Senators Bong Revilla, Joel Villanueva, and Jingoy Estrada, who have all denied the accusations. Alcantara claimed he delivered 150 million pesos to Villanueva's aid for a flood control project in Bulacan. For Estrada, he cited 355 million pesos worth of projects in the 2024 budget. For Revilla, Alcantara pointed to projects inserted into the 2024 budget, allegedly yielding a 30% kickback for his re-election campaign. Former Congresswoman Mitch Kahayan Uy was also tagged in the budget insertion in 2022. In light of the heavy allegations, Alcantara was allowed to leave the Senate temporarily to meet Justice Secretary Boying Remulla at the DOJ, where his statements were validated for possible entry into the Witness Protection Program. He was returned to the Senate later in the day. But Hernandez's lawyer Raymond Fortune revealed that as many as 6 senators, including at least 4 incumbents, are linked to the flood control scandal. He added that the list of congressmen involved could be much longer, noting that documents from Hernandez's computer contain names beyond those already surfaced.
Meron pong 2 na hindi incumbent. Yung 2 po ex.
So
Ngayon, as 2 congressmen naman po, at least from what I had been shown initially, the list can actually be longer because Bryce said that there are more inside that computer.
The NBI has recommended charges against lawmakers and former DPWH officials over alleged involvement in anomalous flood control projects. Here is a report.
The National Bureau of Investigation has recommended the filing of criminal cases against 6 individuals in connection with the flood control controversy. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla said the decision was made after a meeting with the Anti-Money Laundering Council, which also ordered the freezing of their bank accounts. Those implicated are dismissed DPWH engineer Henry Alcantara, Senators Joel Villanueva and Jingoy Estrada, Ako Bicol Representative Zaldy Co, former DPWH Undersecretary Robert Bernardo, and former Caloocan Congresswoman Mitch Kahayon Uy. They may face charges of indirect bribery and malversation of public funds. Estrada, meanwhile, engaged in a heated exchange with Senator Kiko Pangilinan as he defended himself on the Senate floor.
Yung Napoles cases, nauwi dun sa halip na absuelto, kulong. Baka hindi na nangyari itong mas malaking kurakot.
Sino ba pinatatamaan mo? You're a lawyer! I'm not! You shouldn't be talking that way. Are you questioning the decision of the court acquitting this representation?
Pangilinan, for his part, asked for understanding, saying he had no intention of maligning any senator.
There's no intention of maligning any senator with that manifestation. For the record, Mr. President, and again, humihingi tayo ng unawa kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada, wala pong personalan.
Hinding-hindi ko pahihintulutan na ang kasalukuyang issue ay gamitin upang idikit muli sa akin ang mga maling paratang at sadyang impluwensyahan ang opinyon ng publiko. I urge my colleagues to exercise prudence, fairness, and much of all, respect. I too deserve to be heard and to defend myself.
Meantime, Villanueva maintained that he has nothing to hide and expressed readiness to face any investigation.
Mentioned my name, operative word, mentioned. Mr. President, ano po ba ito? Masabi lang po yung pangalan natin at idadawit po tayo sa flood control issue kahit ang mismong testigo na ang nagsabi po na wala po akong alam. Mema lang, may masabi. I am ready, Mr. President, and my office is ready to be investigated, that the truth may come out.
Representative Co also denied links to billions in supposed kickbacks, calling the claims false and baseless. Co said he would address the accusations at the proper time and venue. Former Senator Bong Revilla likewise rejected Alcantara's accusations, stressing he has no involvement in the issue. In his testimony before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, Alcantara claimed Revilla was linked to a 300 million peso budget allocation. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon blasted a 254 million pesos flood control project in Arayat, Pampanga after collapsed sheet piles were left unrepaired for more than a year. Together with Independent Commission for Infrastructure consultant Baguio Mayor Benjamin Magalong, Dizon questioned the contractor during the inspection. He called the project substandard and raised the possibility that it was subcontracted to another company. The officials also visited an unfinished bridge in Arayat, idle since 2017. Show cause orders will be issued to district engineers linked to the stalled projects.
Ang embedment ho nito, according sa soil test, ito tinawagan ko na ho, no? Umabot lang ho ng mga 18 to 20
Meters.
Pero ang mukhang ginamit nyo lang dito, iniklian nyo kayo bumagsak. Hindi talaga kayo umabot sa 30. Na sinasabi nyo.
Kailangan talaga ng flood control dito. Kitang-kita mo naman ang laki ng ilog eh. Di ba? Pero, kinakantado na naman ng mga tao dito yung flood control project na to. Kamukha ano nakikita natin sa ibang lugar. Luzon pa lang to ha.
Justice Secretary Boying Remulla and Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla has assured the public that the rights of minors arrested in the Manila riots will be protected. Authorities said 216 people were taken into custody during the unrest in Recto and Mendiola, including 89 minors. The children are under police custody and will be turned over to the DSWD. Under the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act, children 15 and below are exempt from criminal liability, while those above 15 but under 18 may face charges only if found to have acted with discernment. Now moving on over to weather. Opong has intensified into a tropical storm. Agasa last spotted its center some 825 kilometers east of northeastern Mindanao. Opong is expected to start bringing rains by tomorrow. It is expected to cross Bicol and southern Luzon from Friday to Saturday. Meanwhile, Super Typhoon Nando is now outside the Philippine area of responsibility, 735 kilometers west of Itbayat, Batanes. In sports, Filipina tennis star Alex Yala returned to action at the Qingshan Tennis Open in China, defeating Belarus's Alyona Falei in the round of 32 match on Tuesday. Yala dominated the first set with a strong 3-0 start, but faced a tougher challenge in the second as Falei fought back to level the score at 5-all. The top-seeded Ayala held her composure, winning the final 2 games to avoid a third-set decider and secure her spot in the round of 16. She is expected to face Japan's Mei Yamaguchi in her next match. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. We are One News, all sides, all the time.